What is going on with the Small Business Administration, and when are lawmakers going to re-up and reapprove some more funds for small businesses?
Well, sadly, this has become a piece of partisan haggling, and I think it is quite unfair to the small businesses across the country. This small business program, the Paycheck Protection Program, is the most popular program Congress has authorized in my time in Washington. And so what I would say is there's a massive pressure on the elected class to get on with it and to refill the funds here. They've gone at an unprecedented pace because there's an unprecedented demand among small businesses to make payroll and pay their rent. And so, the animal instincts of the American small business person is there. They want to get on with it, and they need this relief so they can get on with it.
But Congressman, take us behind the scenes here and just remove the partisanship for 1 second. Process-wise, what is going on? Why didn't leadership on both sides of the aisle actually execute this and get this done?
Well, because the Democrats have additional requests they want prioritized. The immediate need right now is because the funds have run out. The immediate need right now is to refill the money in the Paycheck Protection Act. The Democrats want further relief for states and for hospitals. Those funds are still widely available as a part of the CARES Act. So I think at the end of the day, we'll have a reasonable trade-off. Cooler heads will prevail because this is a very popular program that needs reauthorization and needs more funding.
It's frustrating, I think, because every source that I've talked with in the business community, big business and small business, they don't understand why this hasn't been executed more effectively. Moving on, yesterday, President Trump, and I'm hearing a little double reverb for the control room. Yesterday, President Trump announced guidelines to reopen the economy. What's your response to that?
Well, I think it's reasonable. This is in the hands of cities, counties, and states. They have the main police power here, not the federal government. And so to put out the metrics by which we should open the economy, I think is a reasonable thing for presidential leadership to be exerted here. And I think that state governors are doing the best that they can to match the needs of their people and public safety and economic life here. And those trade-offs are really tough, very tough, especially given the public health consequences and the economic consequences that are at stake here. But I think these metrics are much needed. Quite necessary, of course, and this can give the public a better view of the conditions by which we get back to economic life.
But I guess, how do you balance, though, the need for public health concerns while also the economic fallout that has occurred and just devastated the country?
Well, look, this is a tough thing. We've not dealt with this. We've dealt with acts of war. We've dealt with natural disasters, but this is truly an act of God outside of normal confines and thought processes of government. And so those trade-offs have to be made and have to be balanced, and different states, different governors, different officials will come to different conclusions. It's not about ideology. It's about the practical trade-offs between economic life and public health.
And just the final issue, we've talked about this before. What does this do for the United States' relationship with China and the United States' relationship with European allies through the lens of the Chinese backdrop?
Well, I think what's clear is the Chinese regime, the communist regime of China, lies. That is the one thing that's clear about it. I think the challenge here for us internationally is to continue to have an open economy when we've had such a earth-shattering and earth-shaking economic impact of this virus. I think in the short run, our relationship with China is going to be much hurt by this, by their lack of transparency in the initial stages of this disease, and then their propaganda campaign to say that they had nothing to do with it is deeply troubling to Europeans and those here in America as well. With the Europeans, I think this binds us more closely with them vis-a-vis China, and I think over the long run that will have a positive impact for our negotiations with China economically.